I feel like they still have a lot of story to cover for part three.
I think I think they do. They have like a bunch to go through. Like they're definitely not going to be wanting for more little bits.
And
Do you want to talk about like how the stories have
I was just
changed
about to say,
now?
because like they're going to have to also change aspects of the story, because this they did with this game, and like for the most part, all the same story beats were met from the original
Yeah.
compared to Rebirth, but there were still some like major changes in the end.
Um, like I'm not talking about the ending yet, but like some of the bigger changes is like you have a whole moment with Gongaga. I
Yep.
think a very major story beat is Tifa already having experience in the live stream.
Yeah, I think everybody's response to that moment was just like, "Oh, we're doing this right now. Okay. Um, we don't have Cloud with us. Okay." Like, so when Cloud loses his mind and like Tifa and Cloud go into the live stream, like, what's that going to be like now?
Yeah, is she going to be more of an academic weapon in there? Like things are going to be more efficient? Like because before it's her figuring it out, it feels like there's got to be more to it, like more to complicate it, or
Mm-hmm.
so it's harder for her to figure out,
Or like,
or maybe discovering new things.
or like Tifa's just going to be really important to bring him back to the point where she's like going to be his guide while down
Yeah.
there.
I mean, but
And
like, what if she even has like a connection to Aerith in there too? Like, if she has more experience.
well, so I was watching this video and it was pointed out to me that every time you stop at the inn, Tifa and Cloud like have a moment where they like talk with each other. Like it happens in Calm, it happens in Junon, it happens in it happens in Gone Gaga. And so I think the to me that kind of points out that like these two are really developing their relationship, or like the devs want to show that they're developing the relationship, because I assume Tifa's going to be, well, Tifa is key in bringing Cloud back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't think any other of the party members could have done that for Cloud in the original. You have that bond between the two of them, and a lot of love and care. So I'm glad that they are trying to develop that. And like, it does, even if you don't ship them, like, there is a lot of love between them, like familial love and like potentially romantic love. They can even smooch in this one.
Oh, and they definitely do smooch. They smoochies.
They, oh, they smooch.
They smooch.
I didn't smooch Tifa in this one. I smooched Barrett.
Yes.
But I think that will be very interesting because Gongaga was such a big, yeah,
That was
different
shocking.
point.
That was shocking, and I was like, so where are we going from here?
It was very exciting. Any little like change to the original story got me pumped. Um, though I will talk about a part that I didn't really like how they changed from the beginning, and it's or from the original, and I guess it doesn't really matter too much to the end point, but I didn't like how you see Sephiroth kill the what's it called, the Midgar snake.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Honestly, I probably would have
Like
gone.
you fight it and like yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you know what? I was gonna say like it's you don't see that you don't see its corpse, and that really drives home just like, oh my God, like because in the original, if you fight the snake in like at that stage, you lose because it's just so much more powerful than you. So then when you get to the other side and you see that Sephiroth has like impaled it, you're like, oh my gosh, he's so strong. He
It's such a great bit of storytelling just to show you like how you're so out of your league at that point. And it also adds this like mysterious, horrific allure to Sephiroth because like you're imagining like, well, how did he even like impale this giant being onto the tree?
hmm
So I kind of wish they kept more of that story beat. Like I know they were like I guess establishing some more like oh Cloud's crazy um part, but I didn't love it. But again, that's very minor. Like it doesn't affect the overall story
hmm
really at all.
Another thing that I guess they changed in the sense it's different from the original, but like it's just more so an expansion, and that's like the whole like the Cosmo Canyon, like Nanaki's trial, and like the Gi tribe and all that.
Yeah, which I really did enjoy. Like, I like the exploring mechanic you have of Nanaki being able to go on the walls, spending more time there, and having him have like this bonding moment with Barrett, which, again, I don't know why they make it seem like they hated each other from before. I never really got that vibe, but like,
Uh, it's probably something with remake. I'm sure like maybe Bear called him like a dog or something, and Nanaki's like, no, 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 no.
yeah, it's like cheeky or something. I don't know. But it was such a fun little part to it. And the battles were really fun, especially with that last boss there. And honestly, seeing Nanaki's father is like one of my favorite moments in the original game. That was a moment I was really looking forward to, and it always makes me cry. Like I was sobbing while playing that scene.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I am in the minority where I actually felt more emotional going through the OG than with Rebirth with yeah, with Seto when you learned about
Oh, I'm
him.
crying in both times.
Um, but you know what did actually get me in this game compared to the original was I got super emotional when during Dine's death.
Oh, okay.
I yeah,
I mean,
that made me like and weirdly I found it more emotional, but I still felt the original executed that better.
no, I definitely did get emotional. I'm trying to recall like exactly what was the differences that I felt like weren't quite there. Like I don't know if because he's like too anime of a fighter
Who
with his
Dine?
like giant like yeah with his like robot magnetic arm at the end.
Well, see, I felt in the original like he when he just like falls off a cliff, I just feel like that's it just leaves like a bear doesn't get that closure, more or less.
Yeah, yeah,
It
he loses him in the same way he tried to save him before,
mhm.
and then it's like okay, am I always gonna be left wondering that he is out there again?
And then versus like, you know, Rebirth, I feel like he got to have a moment with Dine and whatnot, and I felt like that was probably a bit better. So I guess like maybe emotionally it's more satisfying for Barrett, but I almost like the fact that it was more gutting for him in the original.
You want him to go through more trauma,
Apparently,
essentially.
yes.
Which these are when
Losing
their
losing
characters
his
are at their best.
losing his family in town was not enough.
Oh, and his wife seems so cool in this. Damn.
You actually see his wife this time?
Yeah, like makes sense. And like also I totally forgot that like Marlene's not his biological daughter.
They do have such a good rapport and such.
Yeah.
But I guess I always forget too that Marlene's
What
like
joke were you gonna do?
nothing. I was just gonna say like I always forget too that Marlene was like an infant. So in her eyes, like Barrett is her biological father, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. Like he's always gonna be her father. I don't think she has any memories of her of dying.
No, so I imagine if like that's the thing, like when he was telling Don, he's like, "Oh, we could go meet Marlene." He'd probably be like that. He's like, "Oh, this is your dad." She'd probably be like, "No, I don't know who this man is."
Probably be scared and everything. But like it is sad because you see someone totally give up on themselves in that storyline when it could have been different. Like he could have you don't know what would have happened if you saw Marlene, that if you finally had hope or something to believe in, like
No, I think yeah,
it's
he
so
was just
depressing.
I think he was too far gone, and he serves as like a warning for Barrett, where he's just like, "Don't go down."
There's a few warning characters in this game. You
Uh-huh.
have Roche, you have Dine. People letting you know don't go too far, don't get lost in your grief. That's the thing, right? Like the original game is all about moving on from loss and tragedy and finding hope.
Oh, in that case, Cloud kind of fails in that regard.
Or
Because
yeah.
he's like super. Because then, like, fast forward 2 years after Final Fantasy VII, there's Advent Children. Like, Cloud is like depressed. He's sick. He still feels bad about Aerith. So
But
like
then he event but and that's the story of that game is him like finally accepting her death really and no longer blaming himself.
it took a long time.
Well, 2 years. Like I feel like that's appropriate for seeing your friend get murdered.
Uh, I mean, how long have they known each other when she gets stabbed? 3 months?
Oh, that's a good question. How long have they known each other? Oh, but they like had the trauma bonding and
I guess.
yeah, no.
I suppose like Aerith is just upset because like Zach ghosted her like 5 years ago. And she's just like,
Ghosted.
where the hell is this guy?
Yeah, her best man. Which I found it so weird with her flirting with Cloud in this game because like they make it, I feel like, so intentionally awkward and you could just tell the chemistry. Okay, and maybe other people might have perceived this differently, but to me I was like, oh, the chemistry between Cloud and Aerith are just not there. She just so desperately wants him to be Zach and she's like teasing him, I think, how she would Zach.
Well, yeah, I guess.
And it's not really working. Like Cloud even at one point is like, "Hey, you're doing too much." Like in Costa del Sol, he's like, "This is like you're pushing it too much."
I
Because him and
guess.
Tifa are gonna be they've got more of that natural chemistry. He needs a mature woman.
I guess yeah, I guess she does kind of act the same with Zach in like Crisis Core.
Like she's a very cheeky, sarcastic character.
Like
Like Aerith is really funny.
the first date that Aerith goes on with Zach in Crisis Core is exactly like the date that Cloud goes on with her at like the end of the game in like
Oh, interesting.
that other timeline.
Oh, that's interesting then. Yeah, and I think she eventually realizes that's like what she's doing.
I mean,
But I think it's good to like have those scenes kind of showing because
can you blame her for wanting Cloud to be Zach? I mean, Cloud wants to be Zach.
Cloud is Zach.
Cloud is, I just, he apparently, Zach dies. Cloud looks at him and is just like, I'm Zach now. This is my sword.
That's what I'm gonna do to you when you die.
It's just, okay, this is mine now.
I'm just like I'm Beast. Yoink. But
Another thing
but
that,
you actually but also like a change from the story. Cloud remembers Zach.
I,
He doesn't. No, he's like full on like, oh, how did I forget he died?
that's true. Well, when does he
He
remember Zach in the original?
No, like when he's recalling Nibelheim, Zach's not there. He doesn't. When Era's telling him about Zach, he's like, "Oh, interesting. Okay, I've never heard of that man in my life."
Well, I'm trying to think like in the original when he remembers, he's just like, oh, it wasn't me. It was this
I
completely
think
other person.
it's when Sephiroth is like pretty much being like, "Oh, you fool! That's not how Nibelheim went down." I think it's like something along there, or in the live stream itself, like because Sephiroth pushes and like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's when I think you actually see Zach for the first time, and Cloud is recalling Zach. He doesn't remember him at any other point, so he's remembering him earlier, which is going and he fights with him in this game,
Well,
which
yeah.
I don't know if he remembers.
I, that's a good question of like what he probably doesn't remember him. He's a completely broken man by the end of the game.
He's such a mess. Because our characters do remember the ending events of Remake with all the things of Fate, because I wasn't sure if that was going to be something that they just were like, oh,
Yeah.
we did this in our subconscious. So if Zach, or if Cloud doesn't remember fighting with Zach, it's like, okay, so like, what does that mean? Because Zach clearly remembers them fighting together, and he's like, well, I'm going to go over to that timeline.
Now,
Or maybe he's already there.
this is information that I got from our brother, but he says that it is canon and that the devs have confirmed that the Zack that we see at the end of the game, the one who's like sitting in the church, that's the same Zack at the start of the game.
Okay.
I don't know why that's important, but either way, the Zack is still
But they're
alive.
not confirming like what timeline he's in
He's
at
not.
that
We're
point.
not confirming what timeline he's in. He's just chilling out in some timeline, and I'm sure he's going to come back again.
Hmm. Yeah, of course, because obviously they're leading that direction. I think it would make sense if he still does end up dead in this game.
Oh, we'll get to that, but I have some thoughts on yeah Zack's fate and such. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, Dine was definitely a boss fight that I was kind of it was one of those boss fights I was dreading coming up because I always find those one-on-one battles really difficult, and I found Dine difficult because yeah, it was one-on-one in that sense. So yes,
Yeah.
that Rufus fight absolutely absolutely horrendous. But let's go in a more positive direction. Like try like what's your favorite boss fight?
I really enjoyed the progression of the Turk boss fights throughout the game.
Oh, okay.
Like, I find it really fun to play against the humanoid characters because I think it's just like a different way of fighting between them. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
notice I parry more, like, I just take advantage of more of the mechanics. I like seeing their dynamics change over time.
Okay.
Also, I love the dragon.
Oh, the dragon was so much fun, and the dragon was like kind of cute too.
He was pretty sweet. So that, just like as a Final Fantasy boss, like, nailed it. Very fun to play. Like,
Mm-hmm.
loved it.
I always underestimate the Turks. I don't know why. I think it's just because they're so charismatic and like you kind of end up you I know that by the end of this game we're going to kind of end up as being friends with them even though they destroyed Sector 7.
We're gonna get over that.
But but like I just I always underestimate that 'cause I'm like, oh, it's the Turks. I'm gonna like beat them easily. And it's just like, no, every time, like it is like a kind of a difficult boss fight. Like you still have to stay on your toes around them. Did,
Yeah, like it's a different way of like looking at the combat because they are so much more narrow
hmm
and like they help each other out, so it's just like a very fun. I don't know, I had a lot of fun with it.
But
What's your favorite boss fight
I'm
though?
gonna have to agree with you that Red Dragon fight was a lot of fun.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Uh, the
I was dreading the wall demon fight the
the Demon
most.
Wall, yeah, that was another one. Like just going into the Temple of the Ancients, I was like, I wasn't looking forward to the Demon Wall. And I will admit it took me 2 tries to do the Demon Wall because I was like, the fight started. I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, just I got to keep my head on straight. I can do this. And then
Hmm.
partway through, they're like, oh no, another one behind us. And I was just like, oh come on! I was already not looking forward to this. Why another one?
The pure panic.
Oh,
I think at that point in the games, I was just so late. I was like, I still don't understand how to play Aerith.
um,
Like, she's probably so OP, and like, I don't know.
who did I even have for that fight?
Don't you have to have Aerith?
I don't think it's like the regular game. I don't think it's like the original.
Oh,
I was gonna.
maybe I was just doing it for thematic reasons.
I think I had Red and Yuffie as my team. Yeah, I don't think I had Aerith in there.
Yeah, and eventually I did start to figure out the words. I really ignored her for most of the game, though, because I
Um,
really didn't want to have a date with her. So I was just like, nope, nope, we're not doing this. Cloud's not going to get heartbroken because he doesn't even remember you.
trying to think. I swear there was probably other boss fights that I thought were really fun, but I can't like think of any off the top of my head.
I did like the Forgotten Specimen in Hojo's basement, just because
Oh,
it's so nostalgic for me.
yeah. Well, that whole like Shinra Mansion like that was a big story divergence, and
Hmm.
it was not a boss fight, but it felt like a boss fight having Kate Sith versus that Yin Yang. Oh my God.
Very hard. Like, even though I said I liked it earlier, it is quite hard.
And including as well, they also had an unexpected boss fight against Vincent, Beast
Yeah.
version.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which was really cool. I was gonna say that next, like in terms of fights, it was just really nicely done. Like they made him really menacing. Oh, Vincent already has taken my heart. I love him. I
So
love so many of these
so
characters.
yeah, then when like that other monster like comes out, like after like when they revealed like the locked combo, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'll admit I tried to like put my pride first, and I was like, do I remember the combination? I did not. Well, no.
No.
So I was off by the third digit. I think is like 54, and I kept thinking it was 56. No, I kept thinking it was 54.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
54, but it's something else. So then I was like, okay, fine, I'll look for the combo.
It's so hard to enter the combo in the original game too, because you have to be so precise. And then you have to fight the Forgotten Specimen, which is such a hard battle if you don't do it properly. Well, because like depending on how you fight it, like you either kill like the easy side first,
Now,
and if you
with, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say like that's just like how the original goes. No, go on.
Well, in the because there were so many boss fights or like difficult fights in that, I guess like, of course I had to throw in the Forgotten Specimen, but I don't think that boss fight was really needed, or at least not to be in this like main plot.
I think if you're talking about Vincent, you have to have it. It's so iconic. It's so crazy looking too.
It's a good design, that's for sure.
I would have missed it if it wasn't there.
Well, 'cause, yeah, I still feel like there were a lot of like there was almost too many boss fights in Rebirth. Not to the extent with Remake. There were so many boss fights with Remake. Oh my gosh. Again, the train graveyard like big ghost boss fight that was not needed.
Ugh.
But like I a boss fight for
I'll,
that I didn't like. Because I feel like it should have been optional was the Midgar Sommer, like big snake guy.
yeah. Oh, that was its name, Summer. Yeah.
I
Um,
wish
Midgar Summer.
because they made such a big deal about like you need a chocobo so that you can cross the swamp and not like have to like
Yeah.
encounter this big thing. I was like, okay, great, and like we have to fight it anyway. Yeah, and because of that, we miss out on the Sephiroth imagery, and also
I I
it's
don't understand why they just didn't have it be like a running mechanic,
I know because it's
like a little mini game of just like make you really scared, but then like, when you go back to that area, like if you level up, you could theoretically kill it.
yeah, because how satisfying is that when you in the original when you are strong enough to go back and fight it and defeat it, and you're just like, yeah, I've come so far. So it's unfortunate that, like they took that away. Like I'm not saying don't have that fight, but like have like an optional boss fight.
Yeah, I because the way they originally build up to Sephiroth is already so good, like it would have been nice to see. I guess they could make the argument of like, oh well, we're not slowly progressing up to his notoriety in this one. You already have seen what he's like, you already know what he's capable of, but it's such an iconic moment that I wish they did have. Another boss fight that was not needed was Hojo at the beach.
I
I'm
was
so mad that they added that fight actually, because like it's so funny in the original. He's just like getting his tan on, he's just hanging out. You can't really do anything about him because he's like a high-end Shinra exec, so like
he's
there's
also
literally
like
nothing you
not
could do.
doing anything. He's literally just like sunbathing. So it's like almost feels weird if you're to like cut him down now. He's like, well, he's not
He's not
working.
doing anything to you.
Yeah, he's not doing anything to me right now. I feel like they added that beach fight because number one, it pays an homage to Crisis Core.
Oh, you think? Okay.
No, it is because like there's one point where Zack is on vacation in Costa del Sol, and there's like monsters on the beach, so he grabs an umbrella and you like fight with an umbrella.
Oh yeah.
But like I feel like they added that boss fight because I don't know, maybe they felt there was a lull and they needed some sort of action to like jazz it up.
Yeah, but I totally would have been okay if Costa del Sol was just like a combatless little arc. Just little side quests here and there, and like that's it.
Especially after that Genova fight. It's like
Yeah.
because that's supposed to be like a difficult fight, and especially in the OG, I feel it's like all right now, like enjoy yourself for a little bit before we crush your spirit with Barrett's backstory.
Yeah, exactly. Like it should be just like a little bit of fun, lower your security. Yeah, like you said, before you break your heart. I think they could have gone away without not having that fight. But
Uh,
that
well,
was like my big one of like that was like my least favorite.
I don't know. I feel like in terms of least favorite, maybe just I guess
There's
it's
also Palmer that was very unnecessary
yeah,
after dying.
yeah. That was strange. That whole after dying part was very strange.
Yeah, like I don't know why they didn't just save that for the next part when we eventually go to Rocket Town because you know we have to go.
Yeah, we still have to go. Yeah, maybe because I wanted to have a bit more fun with like Barrett. They're like, you're holding on to Barrett, and they not once have you taken advantage of like playing a shooting game. So
But
here
to
you
do that
go.
after his big emotional moment and like make it silly is so weird.
Well, that's what Final Fantasy VII does best. Some weird emotional whiplash.
That's true. I'm just used to it being the other way around. No, actually, do you think we're going to start off the next game with snowboarding?
That would be
Just like,
hilarious.
just like how in the original it's like, oh, Aerith dies. Ugh, time to like shred some
Yeah,
powder.
exactly.
This is
Uh,
the best way to get over someone's death.
oh God. Speaking of Aerith's death, that final boss battle, my goodness, it was a million hours long.
I had to eat dinner.
There
My
was
darling boyfriend was cooking for me, and like I had to like keep putting it off because like I was just trying to like find a spot where I can end this
there
game.
was just like 56 phases. Like, oh my gosh. It
Which
never
was good,
ended.
but like I just so badly wanted to see what was going to happen. I was like getting driven insane, but like it's good, it's fun. I did die a couple times, and I did hit the wrong prompt button to load me in the right spot,
It's
which
fine. It's
is
fine.
what it's fine. I don't know why they phrase it like the way they did, but it's fine. It's fine.
It took me 4 tries. It took me 4 tries, and I was about to swallow my pride and go down to easy, but I was able to do it on normal, so I was happy about that. But yeah, it was just that and it was always the end is nigh. I should have just focused on wailing on Sephiroth, but no, I was like, oh no, I need to heal.
Yeah, I had that feeling where I think the first time do that final little bit, no, the second time I did the final little bit, because like once I learned his moveset, I was like, I need to just wail on him when he's loading up that last attack, like,
But I just
because
it was so long, and also we have Bizarro Sephiroth, or I guess it's Sephiroth Reborn in this game. But it's like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. I see.
yeah, so it's like, okay, are we gonna be seeing Bizarro Sephiroth again in the next one, or
Well,
are we just gonna go straight to shirtless one?
well, we got the Angel Sephiroth still to do. But yes, we do have to have sexy 101 duel with shirtless Sephiroth.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm curious if they're gonna bring back the Bizarro one in the part three anyway, and
At least
even
with that fight, it was a good homage to like the OG because the Bizarro Sephiroth. That's when you can have your different parties fighting against him, and that was pretty much the case with this boss battle. Is like, oh, now we have like Zack fighting him, and we have Cloud fighting him, and then we have the rest of the party fighting him.
yeah, making sure that everyone is like actually stacked up, like has got their good equipment, like it's a fun homage. Like I did like everyone fighting together, how the party members would change like mid fight.
So I liked the fact that right before the Zack and Cloud fight, I think you have the option to go into your menu to switch around materia. I
You do.
wish
You also have that in front of Rufus too.
I wish they had that you had that opportunity right before the Cloud and Aerith versus Sephiroth portion of the fight.
Oh, do you not?
No, you don't.
Oh, that's
Because
like a bad play then.
it was because I remember I was like I had to I remember I think it was the second time I died. I was like I want to change around Aerith's materia, and so I had to there was an option to go back to the check one of the checkpoints, which was right before Cloud and Zack, so I had to do that. And I was like, oh, but you still had to like go through so much fighting to get to Aerith and Sephiroth battle. My gosh, it's so long. It's so long. It's exhausting. It was too much. I hope part
Yeah, like,
three.
did it need to be that long? Like, I don't know.
I hope part three is like not as extensive.
But, like, if you gotta make it bigger and better each time, like,
Oh, it's
logically, it's gotta be more
it's
extensive.
gonna take all day.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna do the final boss now. Take a day off work. Like, I honestly felt that way because I was like, I thought I was so close to finishing the game the last time. Like, I thought I was like, oh, I only have like an hour to go. It took me the whole evening and night.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it takes like at least like a couple hours if you even when you know what you're doing with the cinematics and oh
Yes,
gosh.
because you can't skip over the cinematics and cuts in the combat scenes.
No, no, and even if you have to start all the way from the beginning and you have to like approach Aerith while the whispers are flying around you and you have to walk slowly using the shoulder buttons and then you have to slowly lift your sword and like
You don't have to do that.
well the cinematics still like you lift your sword, you cannot push any buttons, but you can't skip that part.
When you had to replay the boss battle,
Yeah.
did you have to redo that part?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, it's awful.
I Were you pressing the right prompt?
I know I was not pushing any buttons, no.
No, I mean like when you died, like
Oh no, because I at one point I needed to go back to the beginning because I wanted to fuck around with my materia.
oh, okay, yeah. No, the game doesn't let you skip over that.
No. No.
I tried to avoid pressing the buttons as much as possible with that Aerith scene, by the way.
Well, you have to still like walk towards her.
Yeah, and then like when you're like lifting up the sword, I was like, ah, I'm just not gonna do anything, see what happens. Like,
Yeah, so I think okay. The first time I did this, I did the same as you where I'm like, I'm not going to push anything and see what happens. Am I just going to stand there forever? And then like, okay, I see what happens. And then I saw Sephiroth start falling towards her and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's going to die." I'm like, and then I stopped the game. I paused. I was like, "You know what? I'm going to go back. I want to see what happens, but I do push the buttons." And it was disappointing. It just you just kind of wiggle around a bit. That's it.
yeah, like he tries to resist essentially.
Yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, okay." Okay, carry
Yeah.
on, carry on. All right, let's see her. Let's see Sephiroth stab Aerith. Okay, we oh, they're going with this. We're going to save her. I see, I see. Oh, no, she is dead? Okay.
No, I know. I felt that way of like, oh, they saved her. Okay, cool. Oh no, dead. And
She's dead? She's dead. No, she's alive because she's talking to Cloud.
no, but now she's dead again.
But what's happening?
I was rewatching the
And we're
cutscene
fighting
today, and I was
Genova,
literally
okay.
making notes of like, this is what like, she's talking here, effect here, like, try to like list it step by step. What was your like, I guess, initial impression of everything going on? Like, I think it'd be like, what do you even think was going
I
on?
was confused. I wasn't really the first time I played through this boss fight and like the cinematics leading up to it. I was not paying attention really to like what Sephiroth is saying as he like soliloquies to everybody. Because I was just like, trying to figure. I'm like, I was too busy sitting there going like, so is she dead? I
know,
saw
right?
blood, but now she's talking to Cloud. But now
I
we're
was not listening to what Sephiroth is saying that much because I was just trying to figure it out.
yeah. So then like I played it again, or I was forced to go through it a second time, and then I was paying more attention to what Sephiroth was saying, and he was talking about like blah blah blah. Fools, the reunion is about the reunion of worlds. Ha ha ha! It's happening now.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, okay.
sure, bud, that was the reunion
Sure, this is
this
what.
whole time.
Yep, yep. We totally believe you, Sephiroth.
But like, did you feel like she was dead or alive? Like when you were first like coming out of the ending?
I thought she was dead. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I do
Yes,
believe.
yeah, same.
I still believe that she is dead. I do not think she is alive.
Oh yeah, I think she's super dead.
I guess should we get into the ending?
Yeah, yeah, we're already here. Might as well talk about
We're
it.
here. I still
Okay.
feel so gutted that we were not given the water funeral scene.
I think we're gonna get it later, though.
I do like I do think so too, and I understand why narratively. At least I think I understand why they narratively omitted it from this game, but like
Hmm.
I really wanted to see that. I don't know.
I think we are. See, I have this like whole vision in the next part where like we don't get to explore the Forgotten City, where that last section of the game is at
Hmm.
in this version. And at first I was like, oh, that's too bad because it's kind of a cool area. But there's not that much to do there. You just have ambiance.
Hmm.
And honestly, I think it makes so much sense that like the story of the game like has you like no Cloud has no control over this like so you're just going along for the rails. For the next game, I think it's going to be so cool when you do return there, which you do. You bring Bugenhagen back
Hmm.
to go there, and it's going to be creepy because it's going to be haunted essentially because you're going to be exploring it for the first time. So it's like all your side character party members are going to like know what's happening. I think they're going to maybe do a little bit more Ghost era stuff here,
Okay.
where Zach is going to be, or not Zach, where Cloud is going to like look upon Aerith and be like, "Oh yeah, you made it back." Because like that's what they talk about in the last scene, like you made it back, okay, and everyone, but like maybe something's off, and that's when everyone starts to, like really mess up, and then as you get down, that's where you're going to have that funeral scene where perhaps like that's where he remembers it, like,
Uh,
but it makes no sense, like,
well, I like the idea of what our brother says is that that's how part three is going to start is with the funeral scene, but like maybe we're watching it through
oh.
like Tifa's perspective. And I was like, oh, building on that, wouldn't that be like crazy how like if like we start like that's how part three starts is like we're from Tifa's perspective going like running and seeing Cloud holding Aerith's body.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think they saw Cloud kill her. I saw that a couple times online where people I think thought that like Tifa's so horrified because she like saw Cloud do something. I don't think that happened.
No, because they see Sephiroth. Because
They see
they
Sephiroth.
run in, and Barrett
Yeah,
immediately is just like, "Oh, you son of a bitch! I'm going to get you." So it's like
yeah, exactly.
they immediately, like, as far as I know, from what I understand, they immediately blame Sephiroth for this.
They do. Like I said, I was like writing down what happens because you basically are seeing two different like storylines where you see the rainbow effect where Cloud saves Aerith, and then you have I'm calling them like glitch cuts where it suddenly like does that very sharp like cut, and you see the blood happen,
Hmm.
which is like I think like what's actually happening in reality in this timeline. But then Cloud is getting like a glimpse of what could happen in like some alternate timeline,
Hmm.
which has happened before. Like that's what's happening in the ending is that like they're jumping between these different world points.
Uh, yeah, I call them like migraine flashbacks because he's just like, oh my God, I need an Advil. And speaking of those like those migraines, those glitches, like in the remake, we see we see him lower Aerith in the water. Like he has a vision of that.
Yeah. And like it must have happened in that. Like you see him like in one of the glitches, you see him talking and he's probably saying the lines about she's no longer going to be able to cry, she's no longer going to be able to laugh, like she's gone, like none of this matters. Like
Hmm. And like yeah, they're like the entire party sitting at the edge of that pool, and like that would make sense that immediately after Cloud like lowers her in the water, they're probably just gonna like sit there like taking a moment.
yeah, you're not going to just like leave her. And she drops like a rock.
Drops like a stone, and it's just okay. But Cloud is standing, yet she sinks so far down. I was kind of hoping this game would like kind of clear that up. No,
That's actually why they didn't show it because they haven't figured
they
out the
haven't figured that
physics
out
yet.
yet.
He's gonna have some Bugenhagen materia.
But I do think it's kind of funny how you're like, oh yeah, they'll definitely like sit at the side of the water. They're not going to just like up and drop her and leave. I was like, well, that's kind of what Cloud does because parents all like, okay, we should probably move on. And Cloud pretty much like jumps up. He's like, yep, let's go, everybody.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie, come Tifa.
And like He's gotta look so psychotic to the rest
Oh,
of them. Like,
there,
how are they even talking to him
there's
right
a
now?
reason
Like,
why Tifa is like horrified looking at him, just like, what is going on with this guy? And yeah, they probably think he's absolutely lost his marbles, which he has. And then at the very end, he's like, "We're going north. Call it soldier's intuition." And they're like, the Tifa and Bear look at each other, but they're still like, "Sure, we're gonna listen to you for reasons?" Question mark.
well, do they realize at that point, like, that he's one of the robed guys? Because they watched this happen to the other soldiers. Like, they've seen Roche, they've seen the innkeeper.
I
They
mean,
know the soldiers turn into the robed guys that are following Sephiroth. Like, what? I know in the OG they don't realize it, but like they have to realize it by
I
now.
was gonna say maybe this is why they're like, okay, let's follow him because he's a
It's
robe.
like, sure, Cloud,
He's a
we
base.
trust
He's
you.
basically a robed guy. Um.
He's a faster robed guy.
Also, okay. So also in that scene when they're all like sitting there at the side of the pool, uh, Cloud has another little glitch, a little migraine. Um, and that one is tinted pink. And
Interesting.
I think that's Aerith trying because that in that tinted pink one, it's like her death. So I think that's Aerith trying to get through to Cloud, saying like this is what the truth is. And like any
Yeah.
other time he has that, it's what's her face, Genova.
You think, like, because there's the rainbow effect. Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, like throughout Rebirth, he would have like headaches and like just see these
Yeah.
visions.
Okay. I think I need to, like, go back and make note of, like, all the different pink ones, because,
I know that's the only time I think that it's pink, is at the very
okay.
end.
Because, are you, like, on the field?
No, this is like in the cutscene.
Oh, okay,
So they're
okay.
like they're sitting beside the water, and like Barrett's like, "Let's go,"
Right.
and like Cloud's like, "Yep, sounds good," and he like stands up and he has like a vision where she's like dead.
Yeah, because, like, obvious, I think they're gonna make it more obvious when she's talking through the live stream. Like, I think that's gonna be within her wheelhouse this time around. Like, she's gonna be able to communicate better. But I'm still not entirely convinced, like, how much of what we see in that last scene in the field is, like, her actually reaching out to them, and then, like, what's actually real or not.
So yeah, Aerith at the end, both by the water and yes, in the field. There's, from what I understand, three major theories. There's one where um, it's Cloud hallucinating that she's there. The other one is it's like live stream Aerith, like
Yeah.
there talking with Cloud. And then the last one is Genova, like causing Cloud to see hallucinations of Aerith so that Genova can manipulate him.
Because, yeah, I specifically rewatched this scene because I was like, okay, like, what do I think? And every other line she says, it convinces me of, oh, that's live stream Aerith, or no, that doesn't sound like Aerith. Like, that's very
I was gonna say,
suspicious.
I rewatched it, like going through it again. I'm starting to think it's both. It's both
And, like, it,
live stream and both
because,
Genova. Whereas, like, so for example, when um, like sometimes on screen it's live stream Aerith, sometimes Genova. So like when uh you see Nanaki and Tifa on the hill, and Nanaki's just like, "Oh, Aerith, like I think that's live stream Aerith."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then at the very end, when like Cloud is like, "Okay, I'm gonna go fight Sephiroth," and Aerith is like, "Promise?" I'm like, "That's Genova Aerith, though."
She's so weirdly excited, like, oh my God, you promise? And it's like, Aerith in the original, she's like, no, I will handle this because, like, I've got the live stream stuff, I've got the Cetra power to, like, handle this. And, like, in, like, even the ending now where she's, like, working across worlds, like, she's got this handled. She would not, she wants Cloud to heal himself.
Oh
She
yeah,
doesn't want him to go chasing after him. She wants him to drop off the black materia.
throughout the entire game, she's telling him, "Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't worry about it. Take care of yourself." Even like right in the Sleeping Forest at the start of chapter 14, the last time you see Aerith before she dies, and yeah, the Sleeping Forest, she says to him, just leave it all to me. You just like take care of yourself. Like, don't,
Exactly. So like that last line, I'm like, that does not seem like Aerith at all. And I think it would be interesting the next one if like that keeps happening where we're just switching between live stream version of her and
hmm.
Genova version because they force us to walk slowly
Yes.
across like that Genova exposition of Genova would use your like past companions against you, against like the past like humans.
Hmm.
So it's like okay, you're foreshadowing something. You want us to know that like she can take the form of other people. It's not just gonna be Sephiroth because like we already know that. Like you wouldn't force us to really take in that information otherwise.
Hmm. And also I find I can't see Nanaki responding to Genova Aerith and being
No,
like,
no,
oh,
I
this
don't
is
think it
Aerith.
would make sense.
Yeah, so this is why I think it's going to be like a little bit of both. And
Yeah.
people claim that they can tell like something is off by Aerith just by looking at her in that last scene. I personally can't see it. For me, it's just
No,
more so her interactions with like everybody else that tips me off. Where I'm just like, this is weird. You're
no,
not acting
visually to
right.
me it was the same. It's just the scene's so beautifully gorgeous that it just already looks weird because it's so pretty.
It's so green and so bright and so colorful.
No, I think it's going to be very haunting what happens to Cloud and like it's like but it's interesting too because Cloud says in that last scene, "Don't look up, it's just an illusion." And he's talking about that like rift in the sky.
Hmm.
So he sees it, but that only exists in another timeline.
Aren't those the exact same words that Aerith says to him?
Yeah, like he's repeating it because he's trying to be encouraging to the team, but he doesn't realize they don't see it. So it's like, is he somehow like existing on two different planes? Like,
Yeah,
what is happening?
it's so strange. Like, so yeah,
Or is he just crazy?
at
Like,
the start of like before the boss fight, that's what Sephiroth says. He's attempting to, create the reunion of worlds, and I assume that was the whole point of the boss fight was to stop him from this. But maybe like some worlds are reunited. I don't know, and that's why
yeah,
there's
maybe like
like,
Cloud is like the key to reunite those feelings,
hmm,
like those, because he's a convergence of like emotions and something else.
clearly Cloud is very special because there's a reason why Sephiroth is choosing him.
He's obsessed with
He's
him.
obsessed with him. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get the reason why Cloud is so special, but I think we just need to accept that he is very important to Sephiroth's plan of
He's very important to
conversion.
Genova for reasons.
Yeah, and also, okay, I think I was saying like how, like in a private conversation, like I was always confused of like, was it Sephiroth controlling Genova in the original or Genova controlling Sephiroth? And I think Sony like eventually confirmed that it was like Sephiroth does eventually harness Genova, but like I don't know. How do you feel about all of that? Like, do you think there's one or the other in this game?
I thought it was Genova the whole time.
So it's like Genova taking over like the forms of Sephiroth and like who's in the crystal.
Hmm.
But I think I saw something that was like, oh no, but like eventually like Sephiroth and the crystal like uses Genova's powers.
I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit more well explained in part
Yeah.
three because that was one thing I feel like a lot of stuff fell through the cracks with the story in the original because it wasn't like due to like the translation.
I was gonna say it was probably the localization that makes it unclear at times.
So I like yeah, I don't know.
Let's mosey.
I don't know how many times like I played through that game before I realized, oh, this isn't Sephiroth. Like, Genova is the big bad. Like, this isn't actually Sephiroth. Sephiroth is dead. He died already.
Well, and that's why I thought like Genova was like the big bad. So when I heard that and I was like, wait, so Genova wasn't at the end? Like, or was responsible for a lot of it, but like I guess it almost makes it seem like Genova is just like this parasite on the world, like not very sentient.
I mean, in the end, kind of. That's pretty much what Genova is like just like this parasite.
Just like feeding off of like What is Genova's goal?
Well, that's the thing is Genova isn't really expanded on the original, so like they're definitely doing a better job in like expanding this character in this one.
Yeah, because I keep like second guessing myself of like what I actually think. I do need to go back and like finish my original playthrough again
Hmm.
now that I'm done this version. And yeah, I'm definitely past like Aerith's death. Where am I? I have the airship for sure. I don't know. Anyway, that's not important though. Um, yeah, I mean, Cloud is just going to be so office rocker in the next part. It's going to be really fascinating to see him be an even more unreliable narrator.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be this game is going to get so confusing.
But hopefully it becomes more clear after this next one. I mean, it's gotta, right?
I mean, what are you hoping for? What are you looking forward to for part 3?
Of like original content
Yeah.
or I mean, seeing the crater is gonna be so cool, like going between those fights, but I actually am gonna be really looking forward to like when Cloud is recovering
Oh, the
and like
whole
you're
live
running
stream
around.
sequence.
Yeah, well, like streaming sequence is going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be different this time around.
Hmm.
Maybe in like a subtle way, but I think they're going to add to it. But also, I can't wait to run around as like Sid.
Uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to. I assume we're going to be able to play as Sid and Vincent in the next game because I guess they
Yeah.
had to like save them for.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to save.
They need to like save them.
Yeah. Um, I'm looking
Doing
forward
like the
to.
whole Rocket Town stuff. Like I love Rocket
Yeah, we
Town.
still have
Like
to
I
do
love Sid's
Rocket Town.
character.
Wu Tai's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
I think Wuchai's gonna be more fun for me. Like I never enjoyed it that much, which is sacrilege to say, like in the original.
I'm looking forward to the Sister Ray and
Mm-hmm.
seeing that fire. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also looking forward to
Ah,
the
yes.
submarine.
Oh, I think they're going to do a better job of it this time with the mechanics.
Oh, 100%. And also, I wonder, like,
The weapons are going to be so cool in
I
this.
was gonna say, because nothing was a bigger jump scare than like going in the submarine, going down, and then like as soon as the screen loads, like Emerald's weapons right there, and you're like, oh no!
Yeah.
So I'm like, are they gonna be able to recreate that? And like, yeah, are this weapon's gonna be like super scary?
Oh, I want them to be as menacing as possible. Ruby is like so messed up just on its own. Ugh, and I love that scene with Shinra just yeah blasting it.
I know
Not Ruby, but like you know what I mean. Diamond.
it's gonna be very oh gosh, yeah, diamond weapon like approaching Junon. It's so menacing.
It's so hyped. Like that's gonna be all just so cool. Like we have some awesome kaiju moments coming up.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
And with the huge materia, you have that like whole plot line.
I'm also hoping that like um Knights of Round is going to make an appearance.
Oh, I think it will. Like the fact that they had the whole Gilgamesh thing, like I think it's already establishing like doing big things for big summons.
Mm-hmm. My goodness,
'Cause yeah,
it's gonna be
I don't
ridiculous.
know if I don't know if we're gonna like do the same like breeding side quests. Like I think they're still gonna have breeding, but
Oh no,
it'll probably be a bit different.
I was gonna say I don't think it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be probably another like proto relic type deal.
I think this is something I do want them to add because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is in the original. Is I want them to show Sephiroth learning that he is the son of Hojo and he's not the son of Genova.
Okay.
Because I think, because there was like something with like Aerith commenting on like towards the end of the game where she was like connecting with people's humanity, um, like more so kindness. And like, I don't think like Sephiroth's gonna be like fully on your side, but I think if Genova is the big bad, I think it'd be really interesting seeing him resist against that, have his own identity crisis again,
Well,
and like that be his undoing. Like that would be very, I don't, but like
I don't know
he's
if
so all knowing in this version, so I don't know if that's gonna
I
happen.
don't know if we'll come across other Sephiroths because from what I understand, there's just one kind of jumping around timeline to timeline, looking
Yeah.
for Aerith.
Yeah, killing her.
Yes.
repeatedly.
repeatedly. So like I feel like there's just the one Sephiroth who's kind of like going around controlling timelines, and like there is an Aerith who is able to do so as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the one that you fight with.
I guess so.
Because it can't be Lifestream Aerith that you fight with.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think it is like an actual physical version of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's like the specific one that dies, but might as well be.
Mm.
No, I just think it would be so interesting to see like have Sephiroth finally have that realization. Mess him up.
There's one, yeah, there's just like one Sephiroth where, like, timeline where he learns this information, then he, like, lives a quiet hermit life to reflect.
Like it'd be wild to see him like go kind of insane because he does not handle his identity crisis well.
Um,
Same along with Cloud. They have that same similarity where they both go off the deep
are
end.
there any moments that you're looking forward to that are not from the OG, but they are foreshadowing from this game or remake?
Oh,
I feel like
you go
we
first.
better get some payoff with the Gi tribe, where Nanaki's like, yeah,
Oh,
totally, we'll get the
yes.
black materia for you. We're not
Yeah.
getting it for them.
No, no. No, I'm curious to see where that's going to head. Who knows? Maybe that'll also be a little bit of a Bugenhagen side quest thing towards the end of his life.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty satisfying to see. Um, I am excited to see Cloud go more nuts, but that's not really a divergent. Like that's just him already doing what he does best. What else was going on? I mean, with the Turks, it's going to be interesting because they're all alive. Like Saint didn't die,
Well, yeah, I guess so.
which like isn't that big of a deal. But it's like, is Saint gonna die in a different tragic way? Like I'm curious to see how that
Well, we
happens.
know that him and Aerith have a good close bond as well, so I'm sure he would be gutted to hear that she dies. Because, yeah, before he dies
Yeah,
before her.
yeah, it might affect like how the Turks operate like a bit sooner because they start becoming more goodies in like the last arc, and that might promote it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have like the head of the Turks gonna be mourning her.
Then maybe, like, Sisney
Uh,
will join them as well. Oh, man, did you...
Perhaps.
I learned that Elena's only 18 years old.
What?
I know.
Wow, she's so accomplished for her
She's
age.
very accomplished. She's a Turk, for goodness sake. My goodness.
I like what they did with her because, like, when you're first introduced to her, you always think that, like, oh, she's gonna just be like useless, but then she's a menace in
Yeah,
combat.
I mean, she's a Turk.
She is a Turk. Yeah, it's like, yeah, she's a little goofy, but they do such a good job with her.
Um, I guess before we wrap things up, I just have like one more question for you. And do you have any predictions on like how this is all going to end?
I
Not even like it
think,
doesn't have to be. Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. I'm just gonna leave it open ended.
yeah, no, I think Zach is going to join in the real world towards the very end of the game, but I
Hmm.
think he's still going to sacrifice himself and pass. Same with Aerith, like they're just going to stay dead, but there's going to be Aerith is going to find a way to stop the planet from trying to kill humanity, which because I am the belief in the original game when you have that fast forward into 500 years from now, humanity's dead.
Hmm.
So we're gonna find a way to fix that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I think Sephiroth's gonna be joining your party again.
it.
They
Well,
have all that, like they're not gonna do that whole demo of like him actually being able to fight. I think he's gonna join your party for a hot second at least.
well, maybe
That's
the
my hot take.
maybe the antagonist from Crisis Core will come, and that's when you have to control Sephiroth again.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's just like a gameplay prediction.
I agree with you that like So the whole point of the ending of Remake was like they crossed the wall of the whispers and they defied fate. And like so the big question going into Rebirth was, "Oh, can we save Aerith? Can we save Zack?" I think in the end both of them are still going to have to die. Uh but I agree with you. I think we're going to change fate in that we're actually going to stop Meteor or stop the planet. Yeah, stop life from being destroyed. Because, yeah,
Yeah.
I went back and boot, dusted off my old PS2 and, and played Final Fantasy 7 to like watch the ending again, and like Midgar gets demolished. Oh my God, like it gets destroyed. And
Yeah.
then I was like, oh right, in Advent Children they talk about how they had to evacuate Midgar and they started a new city like on the edge of it
Yeah.
because nobody can
It's
live
messed
there.
up.
Yeah. And like
It's
even
such a footnote.
at the end of the original game, that's one of Red's lines was, oh my God, like Holy is supposed to be stopping Meteor, but it seems to be having the opposite effect. Like, forget about Midgard. We have to save the rest of the planet. Otherwise, like Holy and Meteor is going to destroy it.
Because
So
we're
yeah,
going to be the big threats.
I imagine the when we're going to defy fate, it's we're going to avoid the events of Advent Children.
Yeah, and do like a better team up with Shinra, because like that's going to be one of the only ways to like save the planet too, is Rufus not to be an oil grabbing monger,
Well,
you
towards the
know.
end of the original 7, it's assumed that he's dead. And then Advent Children reveals that he's
Nah.
alive and he's about to explain how he survived getting a weapon in the face. And Cloud's like, I don't want to hear it. I'm like, and I'm sitting here watching the
I
movie.
want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to. Why are you still alive? But it's been
Maybe we will
established in
get
both
that.
Rebirth and Advent Children that Rufus is willing to work with Cloud. Like, they're
Yeah,
not
we didn't talk
necessarily.
about that, but that was a really cool scene, and I was getting really excited for a
Yeah, I was like,
moment.
"Ooh, can we change this? Like, are we gonna like kind of like do a weird team up?" And then Yuffie ruins it all.
Yeah, for their failed assassination
Yeah, I just
attempt.
like, no, she's not with us. She's not with us, please, Rufus.
We're not trying to kill you again, I swear.
But yeah, they seem to have a very interesting relationship. So it'll be interesting to see how that continues on.
Oh, for sure. He's such a fan favorite. Do you have any other large sweeping predictions?
Nope, that's pretty much it. It's just Zach's still gonna die, Aerith is still gonna die, um, and we're going to save the planet in such a way that even like Advent Children doesn't happen. However, I feel like they still have to have like a somewhat ambiguous ending. Kind of like how the first one is kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, where like hope is still like a big part of it, but you don't know. Like you have like humanity has to make that choice to be good. No, I'm down for that. We'll have to see if we're right.
We'll have to see if we're right. We'll have to wait a few more years. But yeah, I guess I don't think I have anything else to say about this. But yeah, thanks for taking the time, and I guess this will be fun trying out a new format in terms of videos.
Yes, good tester, good tester. We'll see how it turns out, but it was good chatting with you.
It's good chatting with you. All right, have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.